Us are our guests in Jerusalem, Rabbi Yishai Fleisher, and in Ramallah, Rabbi Abu Latifa. Mr. Fleisher, if I can start with you, looking ahead, can there be any sort of peace agreement unless the settlers are removed from the West Bank?
I believe so. I believe that there will be a peace agreement in the Middle East. I believe that if you look at the big map of the Middle East, you'll see 23 Muslim countries all around and a very tiny Israel. And I think that we can certainly come to some kind of equitable deal to make peace in the Middle East if people would want that. I think that we're not going to divide our tiny little land and give that away to Islam or to Palestinians or to anybody else. I think that if anybody wants to live in our tiny sliver of land, they'll be welcome guests here, and I think that there's definitely peaceful relations that are going to come in the future. I think the real trouble here is the West that gets in between Israel and the Arabs. We are cousins. We are all Middle Easterners.
Okay, you're saying that all the inhabitants of Hebron and the occupied territories should simply leave?
No, I did not say that. I said that they will be able to live peacefully under Israeli sovereignty, those who choose that. We have a tiny, small Jewish country, and we must hold it down, and we're not going to give it away. I can't give away the place where my father and my grandfather are buried. I cannot. I simply cannot do it. So I have to figure out some other kind of equitable decision.
Well, I think international law has answered this very clearly. The 1967 occupied territory, that is the Gaza Strip, the West Bank, including East Jerusalem, is an illegally occupied land by Israel, and Israel has to evacuate it. So the international law has given an answer for that. And I don't know why your guest is speaking about the Middle East. I thought that the whole thing is about actually the occupied territory. There will be no peace.
Yes, exactly. Let's just limit the picture
justice,
to that small amount.
Without justice, and your little tiny Israel is the strongest country in the region, and it's the only nuclear power.
Oh yes,
in the Middle
stronger
East.
than Saudi
so
Arabia,
it's not really
Qatar,
about size.
and Iran and Syria. You know, it's so funny. How is it that Islam, how is it that the gigantic Islam that has this wonderful network called Al Jazeera, how could it be that it's so weak compared to the tiny Israel?
Let's just focus on the issue here.
Because I believe
Yishai Fleisher, all right, gentlemen, if you could just focus.
I don't believe that they're weak.
There's no point in speaking over each other. Let's just
equal rights for Jewish people in the Middle East.
Okay, Mr. Fleisher, the issue here is Israel's obligation to dismantle illegal settlements in the West Bank, isn't it?
That's what you think the issue is. I think the issue is that the Jewish people should be allowed to live in the Middle East just as all the Arabs are allowed to live. You guys got to give us a chance to make our life here. You are the ones who don't want peace.
Live in Israel.
We will make peace with you. We will make peace. That we are from the Middle East just as any other Arab is, okay? Read the Bible. Where's Abraham from? Where's Ishmael from? Where's Isaac from? Where's Jacob from? We are family. We belong here just like you.
Okay,
and you won't kick us out of here. And if you want to make a deal with us, you will.
What about those who say that for every settler house that is being demolished, dozens more are being built? How much of a difference does the evacuation of this one house in Hebron, how much of a difference is it really going to make?
Well, actually, I don't really see it as a big thing happening. The Israeli government want to make sure that the settlers movement is still under its control. They can move them towards something whenever they want. I think what's behind this conflict now is the fact that the settlers are demanding for more. They are demanding to grab more land, to occupy more houses, and to be given more freedom to attack Palestinians, to attack farmers.
This
is what they want.
Mr. Fleisher,
the Israeli government
what is your view on that?
Does the evacuation,
Mr. Fleisher, does the evacuation of this building really signal any change in Israeli policy?
It might signal a change in an attempted change in policy, but your guest is absolutely right. It signals nothing in terms of the Jewish people's will to continue to settle in their ancient homeland. You know, your guest, he lives in Ramallah. I live right next door in Beit El. I was walking with my baby on the land in Beit El. I kicked over some rocks. I saw pottery there.
I don't live in Ramallah. No, I live in
Jewish pottery camp. Okay, you're from Ramallah.
I'm in Ramallah right now because Al Jazeera studio is in Ramallah.
Don't start telling me
I live in a refugee refugee camp because my
the
house
Arab
was
people
taken by
can
settlers.
stop telling me the sad stories about how poor they are. The Arab nations are some of the richest nations in the world. The Arab villages around me are loaded, much more loaded than I am. And I'm not here to steal their land away because of greed. I could have been a lawyer in New York City. I'm here to reclaim my ancient homeland, and I'm not afraid of your guests, and I'm not afraid to walk in my land with my neighbors.
I don't know
Could
what
the tension that we've been seeing in Hebron spread to other areas of the West Bank now?
The tension could spread all over the country. We have an identity crisis within the Jewish people of who we want to be. We don't have a conflict with the Palestinians. We have a conflict within which country do we want, a Tel Aviv country or a Hebron country. And what people don't understand is if we don't have Hebron, we don't have Tel Aviv. I believe, though, that that's what the enemies of Israel understand. They want to get rid of Hebron so that they can next get rid of Tel Aviv. That's what they always say. And your friend there that's always talking about international rights, he doesn't care about international rights. He doesn't care about the rights of the Jewish people. He only cares about using it as a tactic to get us out of here, to get us out of the Middle East altogether. You know what? He doesn't love Israel. He doesn't love Tel Aviv. He wants us out of here. I understand him. I respect that. There's a war on, okay? But we are going to stand strong. We're going to stand in Tel Aviv.
Rabbi
We're going to stand in Hebron. We're not going to give up this land.
Well, I really don't know how to get, discussing these things again, because I'm coming from a completely different background than the background your guest is coming from. I can't really speak about rights of Muslims, Christians, Jews, non-believers, because I do believe that all human beings have equal rights, and I will keep repeating that. And our reference, the basis of our work is international law and human rights principles and values. It's not the rights of any specific group of people.
Hang on, let him finish his point.
Well, so you're basically suggesting a transfer of all Palestinians from the occupied territory. This is what you are calling for, and this is called ethnic cleansing, and this is a war crime.
Those people who want to accept Israel's sovereignty can live in peace in our country.
I wouldn't be surprised. I wouldn't be surprised if one day,
Mr. Fleisher, let me put this point to you. Do you accept that these settlements are a major obstacle to any kind of peace agreement that would establish a viable Palestinian state alongside a secure Israel?
Because of course it is an obstacle, and we will continue to be an obstacle to that kind of thing, because a Palestinian state means the end of our return to our Jewish homeland, and it will probably mean a war against us onto Tel Aviv, onto the rest of it. We will not accept such a thing. That's correct. It is an obstacle to that, but that is not peace anyway. Peace comes from the word shalom, as in Hebrew peace comes from the word shalem, which means whole. You can only have peace if somebody's not stealing from you. We have to come to an equitable agreement.
Okay, basically based on the information we get from the field through our field researchers at Al-Haq, most of the indications on the ground are pointing at a high possibility of witnessing a really serious crime committed by the settlers in the West Bank. This kind of anger and frustration among the settlers community because of the Israeli army, it's not going to be taken on the Israeli army, but it will be directed towards the Palestinians. So we are warning that a possible crime, massacre, is coming on the way, and therefore we call all parties, all states that has influence on Israel, and we are also calling the Israeli government
we will have to leave
try
it there.
to prevent that from happening. Yeah.